Hey everyone, so it's been a little while since I've made a video on this channel. Um, Today I want to talk about just how radically you have to shift your identity when something comes into your life that forces you to change your identity in a very, very severe and kind of radical way, where you can't fight it, you have no control over it, and it's just pulling away different layers of things that you never could have ever imagined could have been taken away from you, or could have changed, or could have been altered, or could have not been with you until the day you died. These are parts of kind of who you are, things you didn't even think about, things in your life that you didn't even contemplate, like, oh yeah, this is something that could be shifted, or this is something that could go backwards, or this is something that I could feel like I'm devolving or evolving backwards or regressing, or all of these things like that. And this is what happens when I feel like it's a lot more impactful when you get sick with something that affects not just your body's capabilities, but also when it starts to affect your brain and your cognition and your ability to empathize and be sensitive, and to it's the inner world stuff that I feel is much more impactful or much more difficult to cope with, which what I'm dealing with so much. So it's been about symptoms started about 6.5 years ago. I continue to feel worse and worse, and I'm seeing just brilliant people. A few weeks ago, I did a week of a water fast, distilled water fast up in Santa Rosa, California, in Sonoma County, and that I think set me back, honestly. So I have no idea really what's going on with me. I mean, metal tests have been high in the past. I have, CIRS, Lyme has been indeterminate. My gut's been a disaster. I mean, I feel like I'm literally every time I see a new doctor or start a new protocol, I'm starting at square one, where it's like, what do you think? What should we try now? Because nothing has even touched it. Nothing has stopped this. I'm trying to find a place to sit that doesn't look gross. Nothing has stopped the decline that I'm experiencing very rapidly. Every month or two seems to be a notch below, and I'm like, well, this is my new baseline, and that's literally what I'm experiencing all the time. Is like, this is my new baseline. It's so difficult. I mean, a lot of the symptoms I'm experiencing are all the physical ones. So much more the last few weeks have been severe kind of balance. I'm actually kind of stepping back, or I'll tip to the side and I'll lose my balance. Handling dishes, like taking the dishes out and putting things out of the dishwasher, anything where it's like moving items. I'm very prone, and just much more to, and I actually have like been dropping things, like dropping forks, dropping spoons. It happened like 3 times the other day where I was just in the kitchen and I dropped a cup, dropped a fork, and I gotta say, I mean, it's really scary, and it just sucks. Especially, not knowing what's going on. Vision is horrible, so everything is really, really just foggy, and tired, and I can't see details well. And there's just like this, I don't have floaters, but there's just like this haze over my entire visual field that makes me feel like I'm on a lot of sleeping pills, or, I mean, if you're not sick, it would be sleeping pills or heavily medicated, and you're trying to walk through the day feeling exhausted and heavily medicated on whatever drug that you've taken that you have experience with. Just feel really, really effed up. Body pains, joints, everything hurts, aches, muscles don't really work well, things, cramping, feels like muscles are ripping and tearing, joint deterioration. I mean, massive fatigue, extreme gut, messed up gut. I don't want to go in. I mean, my tests show that nothing's wrong with my gut. Neurologists can't find anything. So I don't have anything wrong with my gut that they can find. The only tests that have ever shown strange are, again, those CIRS markers, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. The shoemaker markers have been high. I do have some elevated mycotoxins in my urine, so a little bit of mold going on there, which I am addressing. Like I'm on cholestyramine and doing all the binders and doing, Neil Nathan's protocol. Like I've been doing everything. Anyway, so, but yeah, massive bloating, massive gas, just feeling like I have the flu all the time. It's just horrible. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up in case you didn't know my story there, but a slow decline where, I haven't been able, I used to be a rock climber. I used to be extreme, like a hot yoga teacher multiple times a day. I haven't done any physical activity other than like little walks. It's been since June since I have been unable to even force it. It's been a force. I've been forcing it for a few years, but June, so a few months ago, has been, I stopped. There's no way. My grip strength, my muscle strength, my joints, my energy, it just got to be impossible. So, it's different when you're experiencing something like this that affects all your physical body, your muscles, your joints, what you can physically do. But then, it's different than someone who just breaks a leg. I mean, I don't really have any sympathy for somebody who just like, oh, I broke my leg. It's like, really? Like, I'm so sorry. I mean, this is a different level of, first off, you don't know if you're ever going to get better. You aren't aware. You have all the uncertainty of literally not knowing if you're just going to keep getting worse for the rest of your life, which I have. It's not something where you have something very obvious that will be fixed in 6 months, and then you'll be back. There's not that. This is all totally foreign territory where doctors are still trying to just guess and figure out what's going on, and they really have no idea. So it's a completely different kind of fear and kind of disillusion of things. So, being incredibly smart, my IQ I know has gone down a ton. My brain just cannot find the right words. It can't put sentences together. I can't understand people when they talk. I have to ask people to repeat themselves. My short-term memory is abysmal. Like my retention of like listening to some, people talk, just having a friend talk to on the phone, you're just like, you hear it, but none of the words make sense. And you're just like, you can't remember what they said. Like if they're just like, what, it's, so things like that where you never think that that's going to be, affect. You're never going to get that, that stuff ever, I can't even talk. That stuff's ever going to go away, right? But it does, and it can. And your ability to be a good friend, to be a good listener, to have, to be kind, to be aware, to be helpful, to be dependable, to be reliable. To be, a good romantic partner, to feel like you're creative, to have insights and just all of these things, they can all go away. And I'm living in a world where they have been going away, and they are going away very rapidly. And you're not funny anymore, and you're not fun to be around, and you feel like a drag, and it's like everything can just be stripped from you. And plus, you have all the mental stuff, and then obviously you have all the physical stuff. Like, well, my brain could be going, but I can still, work out. I don't have that either. Like, it's all going at the same time. Where, there are people that may have Alzheimer's, but they still run marathons, right? And I'm not saying that's better, but at least, that's the physical aspect for people whose minds are going may not be taken away at the same rate that their physical body's going. But when it's all going and there's no sign of it stopping, and all the therapies, binders, treatments, drugs, herbs, IVs, et cetera, over the last 7 years have not helped, it's very, it sucks. It just really sucks. You're just living this kind of half life where you can't even access the person that you used to be. It's not even accessible, and it's becoming like a distant memory. It's not even kind of like, oh, I have a good day or I have a bad day. There are people who, maybe they say they have Lyme or mold toxicity or whatever, and they say, oh, I had a good day. I had a good day. That's never been my experience. And maybe that's yours, where you have good days and bad days. You have flares and declines, I've never experienced that. I haven't felt like myself since the first month where my symptoms began, when it was very gradual. This all happened very gradual for me. It wasn't like I got really, really, really sick all of a sudden and I was out of commission. No, this was very gradual. Things started very slowly. Right. Oh, what was I talking about? the feeling like, you have no access to those other parts of yourself, right? So people who have good days and bad days, at least they kind of, have memories of like, oh, that's what it's like to feel like myself again. Oh shit, I'm going to fall down into another hole. I'm going to have another crash. I don't know what's better or worse. I'm sure they would argue that what I'm experiencing is better or whatever. But knowing that yourself is still kind of there somewhere, and you have ups and down flares, but you still have access to that self. It's still there, and you still have a day where you feel like your best self. And then you have weeks or months or days or hours where it feels like your worst self. I'd rather pick that, to be honest. This is kind of like I hope that ideal self of mine is still kind of there hiding, which, I mean, in all honesty, it probably is. It just feels like there are just endless layers of garbage and inflammation and fog and exhaustion and just the most random symptoms, from gut to skin to urinary tract issues to vision and brain and cognition and you name it, right? And those of you who have been diagnosed with some of these, inflammatory issues, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where the range of symptoms are just like, it doesn't make any sense, So, I had a plan for this video. I wanted it to be structured around something about a topic, but this just goes to show you that I really can't stay on topic or on focus, and should be, proof that I don't really quite know what's going on or what I'm talking about, even though it sounds like I do. And yeah, it's challenging. I'm not sure what I'll name this video, but I'm also not trying to get as many clicks and views as I can, so I really don't care to name it something that's kind of clickbaity or trendy. It's not important to me on this station. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I make these videos, or I haven't made them in a while, but I used to make them because I wanted them to be helpful. I wanted somebody to watch them and to either be like, dude, glad I'm not you, which I guess is helpful, or somebody watches them and they're like, wow, he's as fucked up as I am. Or somebody watches it and, sorry, there's a bug on me. Oh yeah, my nervous system's all whacked out. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like that multiple chemical, like two louds of sounds. Like I feel freaking autistic. I feel very like challenged when it comes to like relating to people now, because my brain can't pick up on like visual cues, because I'm so exhausted. I can't like read people's subtle movements and facial expressions and understand what they're feeling. Like my ability to like empathize and be with somebody in their world and understand their world, and someone who's sensitive, exactly what I'm talking about. This is something that there's no way that I ever thought could have been taken away from me. Like your ability to be empathetic, or your ability to understand somebody, or your ability to feel what someone else is experiencing. All these things I used to be so energetically in tune with. It's all being stripped, very slowly. It's getting harder and harder and harder, and and my sense of humor is less, because like I can't sync with somebody as well. I can't like sync in with that energy and kind of have that click. And these are things that you really only realize you have when you begin to lose them, and you're like, wow, I had that ability and that came natural to me and that was fun, and now I can't. It's like you don't really experience everything that's going on while you're living it and experiencing it. You have to be removed from it in order for that to be, for you to know. See if you can see that squirrel in the tree. See it? Squirrel. All right, guys, I'll end the video there. Let me know if you'd like to make me to make more videos of me ranting about how difficult my life is. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.